What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Fanduel sponsored Crunch Time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich. And right as we're coming onto the show, Josh Allen and Isaiah Pacheco both score touchdowns. All of a sudden, things are looking a little bit brighter for me than they were 5 minutes ago. Joined by my weekend buddy, Tasteful Tides, Tim Buell. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Hopefully I can do well on FanDuel today in football. I think I'm going to just miss on DK. It's do you got any good sweats going on, or just kind of a break-even day for you, or you got any good things going? Good lineup?
Most likely just a break-even day. But like my cash team right now is breaking even, and it still has Dortch, Kincaid, Pacheco, and the Chiefs defense. So potential to still be going up there. And then I did do a show, like an afternoon slate team as well. And it's not off to the greatest start, especially considering it looks like it's going to be tough to win without Matt Stafford. But it's still early. It's a small field. You don't have to have the best teams up there in that situation. So not great sweats, but playing a lot of small field stuff. So could still turn around, go my way, and some min cashes could turn into a couple $1,000s. So fingers crossed on that, but nothing like the past week has been.
No 5-figure hits for you today?
No, it doesn't look like it. But I mean, hey, the showdown slate at night is still
I was gonna say the night is young. You got NBA and you got showdown, so you can still do it.
Yeah, we got time. We got time to turn it around. We got not a lot of time before this slate starts, Tim, but we're waiting on a lot of news. Kind of like even later in the night, we're still waiting on Darius Garland questionable. We got Aaron Gordon questionable for the Nuggets, a midday downgrade. Plus a ton of stuff. It's right here at 6 o'clock. So talk me through what we're waiting for and how you plan on attacking this slate.
Yeah, so we got a few really big injury news things going on for the right at 6 o'clock, right when the slate locks. We've got Anthony Edwards, that was a midday questionable with upper back spasms. I think that he is a true game time decision. That would really catapult Karl Anthony Towns into a borderline must play for me. I think that would do a lot of good things for Naz Reid and Kyle Anderson as well, because this slate does not have a lot of value, like a lot of good value, I should say. So Anthony Edwards is a gigantic one. The other one that's huge is Kevin Durant. Grayson Allen's already been ruled out. I think Durant is another game time decision. We currently have Keita Bates-Diop in for Grayson Allen. I'm assuming we would throw, Josh Okogie into the starting lineup, but that would make Devin Booker look absolutely amazing. So this is going to happen all during the show. So I think people need to be on their toes and think about what you want to do if these things go down. So it's going to be interesting next 20 minutes or so.
Let's start things out on our FanDuel Crunch Time sponsored FanDuel. You can bet $5 on any money line, get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. For new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Noto is on core plays again today. He's got Al Horford, Franz Wagner, and Jason Tatum tagged as core plays today. Boston is already without Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Starting things off at the point guard position, who are you prioritizing as of now? How could this potentially change? We got Derek White popping a little bit. Reggie Jackson's a nice value. Jalen Suggs potentially. Who are you looking at in cash? And then your favorite tournament plays as well.
So, I love Tatum today. That's obviously an amazing spot. But I think if I have to prioritize one huge spend up, it's still going to be Jokic for me. So I'm going to start my cash game and my single entry team with the Joker. That's going to be my priority spend. I don't mind if people disagree. If you want to start with Tatum, that's fine. I'm going to go Jokic, and then I'm going to go Derek White as my Celtic. That's my preferred choice. He was my favorite point guard. He could also play him at shooting guard. Reggie Jackson at 5K, I think, is definitely a cash game play. He's point guard only. I love this spot for Denver. I love that game. So San Antonio is one of the fastest paced teams in all basketball and one of the worst defensive teams in all basketball. So getting exposure to that to against the Spurs, I think, is crucial. So I know Atlanta is horrible also, but I like Joker's upside way better. And I really, as of right now, I don't think you can really fit Jokic and Tatum. So I'm prioritizing Jokic. Then I'm going Derek White and Reggie Jackson at my point guard positions on FanDuel.
As a tournament pivots, I like Peyton Pritchard at the point guard position instead of Derek White, give you a little bit more salary saver, because I too am prioritizing Nikola Jokic today in my single entry lineup. I'm just playing one because obviously with so much NFL going on. So I'm prioritizing Jokic there as well. I like Peyton Pritchard as a potential salary saver. But like Reggie Jackson and Derek White, I don't think those are bad chalk plays by any means. I think Cole Anthony is potentially interesting for tournaments there as well. And I think we want to keep an eye on Craig Porter, because if Darius Garland happens to be out here for Cleveland, I think Craig Porter stepping into the starting lineup would become a very interesting value play as well. Shooting guard position.
Yeah, shooting guard position, I think, is pretty weak. It's going to be a pay down position for me. It's going to be probably Nickeil Alexander-Walker already. And then if we lose Anthony Edwards, then definitely it's going to be Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So he's one like value punt play that I have right now. KCP for Denver, 5,100. Pretty ugly. But again, like I don't really want to pay up for 8,600 Desmond Bane. If you do have money, Jaylen Brown would be the guy. But if you have Jokic or Tatum in your lineup, it's gonna be hard to do that. So you got to find some cheapies. So right now I've got Walker and I have KCP. Durant is listed out.
There it is. Kevin Durant out.
Yeah. So
Anthony Edwards in
is in. Okay. So now it's we got to get to some Suns. So, Devin Booker is point guard, shooting guard on DK. So that's good. He's 10-1. And then I would say that probably Eric Gordon is going to rate out pretty well. And even Keita Bates-Diop. Both those guys are going to rate out pretty well too. The problem is it's a really horrible matchup against the Knicks on the road against a slow, really strong defensive team. So maybe I'd make a rule to say that no more than 2 Suns. Would you agree with that, TJ?
Yeah, I think so too. I'm trying to decide now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like max 2, and I'm trying to decide right now which ones to get exposure to in my single entry lineup. I really do want to see that starting lineup. So if Okaji is in there, that $3,700 price tag, I think is just going to do wonders. He probably only gets you 18 to 22 fantasy points, but that could be enough on this slate with the type of value we're lacking, especially because we really want to play Jokic. So I'm currently deciding which ones I want to get in here. But I'm going to probably have to wait and see on this starting lineup.
Other guys, and Booker's only shooting guard, and he's 10-3 on FanDuel. I still think that's fine for cash games and tournaments.
Are you going to try and squeeze in Jokic and Booker?
Oh man, see, I was trying to do that earlier with Tatum and Jokic, and it's so hard to do. I guess I'm gonna have to wait and see what projections give me for this Phoenix team. I don't know how good it's gonna be. I don't know how strong Keita Bates-Diop is really gonna project, or I mean, I think Okaji is a pretty okay play. But yeah, I don't know. I'm
Basically,
gonna
I have
have to
to
be very.
decide. Basically, do I want to pay for Devin Booker and the rest of my lineup's going to look pretty gross, or do I want to have my second spend be Paolo Banchero and then my lineup's going to look a little better?
Right. That's the thing is like we have this Orlando team and this really juicy matchup against Charlotte, and if you go that balanced build approach, it feels a little bit better. But I just think Jokic has like such a humongous upside, and then I think Booker now, I mean, he's gonna have to do everything. So it's hard to get away from. It's hard to get away from Booker in this spot.
Yeah, it really is. This is going to be tough. I plugged into a lineup: Booker, Banchero, Jokic, Pritchard, and Okaji, and I have $3,600 remaining for my last spots. Wonder if I can make it work. I don't think so, because I don't think this is the slate that we can do that.
Is that on DK or FanDuel?
Yeah. That's the one, DK. But pivoting back to FanDuel here, let's go to the small forward position. Who you liking?
Yeah. So probably, I think Okaji is. Yeah. So Okaji probably is going to rate out as a really strong play at small forward. He's really cheap. He should get extended run. Franz Wagner, 7K. Like he probably is the guy that you want to spend up for. We also have Michael Porter Jr., who I think is super interesting. Paulo Banchero, again, another, if you go that balanced build approach, I think is super interesting. That Orlando team is going to dominate Charlotte, and Charlotte is just so bad defensively. So I think those guys are super interesting. So we were exactly on point with the Suns starting lineup: Booker, Gordon, Okaji, Bates, Diop, and Nurkic. So that's exactly what we thought it would be.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to our projections updating here just so I can kind of see where Okaji and Bates Diop are. I know I'm going to have Okaji, but I don't know if necessarily I'm going to have Bates Diop in here yet. What's Okaji's price tag on FanDuel? Yeah, 4K on FanDuel. I still think that's going to be a priority for me. Small forward and shooting guard eligible. I like him a lot there. I like the Wagner play at the small forward position, but Banchero is definitely my favorite Magic player today. He's going to get a lot of his work inside. Charlotte is so terrible inside. And so I like him there quite a bit. I don't really think I can get both Banchero and Booker, and I like Banchero so much today, so this is going to be tough unless I decide to sacrifice Jokic. My lineup's going to be going down to the wire today, and it's kind of fun, giving me a little bit of adrenaline here for an NBA lineup build. This is exciting. But power forward position, who do you like?
Yeah, Paulo Banchero, right? Like Victor Wembanyama, I think are spectacular plays. I don't know if you can get to them now. Luke Cornett is a really strong value. We have him projected to play 24 minutes at 4,100. I would imagine that Keita Bates Diop is going to rate very similarly to Luke Cornett. So depends on how many Suns that you want to get to. Santi Aldama at 6,200. That's a really fair price. So, and then of course there's Jason Tatum just staring there. I wonder if he's going to end up getting a little bit squeezed in ownership, DJ. Like, are people going to be like, no, I want to go Jokic and Booker and say, forget about it with Jason Tatum?
I think so, because I think he probably falls to third on the list of spend ups now.
Yeah, so like he's a really strong tournament play. I bet he's gonna go lower owned than he should be, given how great this Atlanta matchup is, and given the fact that we have tremendous options that are a little bit cheaper than him especially on FanDuel. So Tatum really sticks out to me as a really strong large field GPP play at 10.5.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Banchero is still going to be my favorite guy here. I do like Wembanyama quite a bit as well. This is like kind of crazy, but I think I want to keep an eye on. Now this isn't just power forward, but I'm just looking at this now, and so I have this thought with so many news. I like to kind of just let people in on our process, especially since there's only two of us and it's a little bit more chaotic. I'm looking at potentially for tournaments taking some shots on Denver value. With Aaron Gordon as a midday downgrade, I think he's probably going to sit, which would make somebody like a Peyton Watson interesting. But guess what? Peyton Watson is also listed as questionable mid-grade downgrade with an illness. And so it has me looking at Julian Strother as a potential small forward on FanDuel, complete min price. Small forward and shooting guard eligibility on DraftKings. I think he's $100 more than min price over there. I think that could end up being an interesting tournament play here that I want to keep in mind for in case we happen to get Aaron Gordon out and then maybe even Peyton Watson out. Let's go to the center position here. Who do you like outside of Nikola Jokic? If you were going to fade him, who else would you consider at that center position?
So Delano Banton is starting for the Celtics.
Oh, heck yeah. Banton season. Some value. I love it.
That is so funny. I wonder if this is like going to be a real start. Like he's actually going to play like actual minutes, or they're just going to like trot him out there for like 15 minutes for the entire game. This is such a weird slate.
It is. It really is.
And he's only point guard eligible on DK, and he is only point guard eligible on FanDuel as well.
Minimum price.
Right. Minimum price on both sites.
I think I want to play him.
Yeah.
We're starved for value, and he might only get 20 minutes, but he could have 20 fantasy points in those 20 minutes. He's a pretty good point per minute guy. I've liked getting to him anytime he could get minutes back when he was with Toronto. And even though it's only a 7-point spread, we've seen what Boston has done to teams this year. Yes, there's no Drew and there's no Porzingis, but if this one gets ugly, Banton's probably in line for extended minutes.
Yeah, and since he's point guard eligible, we at least have Derek White, who's point guard, shooting guard. So
and the opportunity cost of the point guard today is so much lower than it usually is.
That's true.
So center position on FanDuel, other guys you might like for some tournaments.
Yeah, so Al Horford rates out really well on FanDuel at 4,900. I wouldn't blame anybody if they wanted to punt center and pay for Al Horford. That's not the route that I'm going to go. I'm still going to play Jokic, especially now that we are getting a little bit of value opening up. Goga, I think, is kind of interesting at 5,900. I really like Orlando against Charlotte, but he would not be a cash game play for me. The only two people I would play in cash at center would be Al Horford or Jokic. That would be the only two people I consider for cash.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. And then from a tournament standpoint, I think Karl-Anthony Towns could still be somewhat interesting, even with Anthony Edwards in the game. We didn't talk about Edwards, but now that he's playing, he is a very interesting tournament play now. I don't think, no, never mind. That would only be a DraftKings specific play for me. I'm playing Jokic as much as I possibly can here. Maybe I could honestly see somebody like a Goga Batadze having a big game today and putting up like 37 fantasy points. But if we get 80 from Jokic, it's not going to matter. So it's really just all about Nikola Jokic for me today. Let's pivot over to DraftKings. Starting at the point guard position, we have Delano Banton all the way at minimum price. Is that where you are now going for cash?
I would like to see what we give him for minutes, but I probably am going to play him even if he only gets like low 20s minutes, just because we need the value so badly. I think that you could also play Derek White Jalen Suggs. But I mean, we also have Devin Booker staring at us right in the face at 10-1. So there's a lot of choices now. If you're looking for cheap, it's Banton. If you're looking for expensive, it's Booker. Then there's Derek White, but I'm probably going to use Derek White in my shooting guard spot. And then I still kind of like Reggie Jackson. Like I said, I really like getting to this game. So I think he would be interesting as well.
I played Greg Dortch over Justin Watson in cash today, and Justin Watson just scored a touchdown. So bad day of NFL confirmed today, Tim. I'm even before seeing this projection, we're giving him 24 minutes for Banton, and so he is currently projecting as the best play on the slate now.
We gave him how many minutes?
24.
24. Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely Banton season.
Yeah, I think
that is some ugly chalk. I can tell you that much.
It is, but I'm doing it. I'm rolling with it anyway. There,
right.
I would probably have about 100% Banton now if I didn't go with Banton in every lineup, and every lineup that didn't have Banton would probably have Peyton Pritchard. I think Reggie Jackson's probably going to fly under the radar now, and he's interesting. These Orlando guards are getting to a little bit too much ownership for me for tournaments, so I think I'm going to go with the fade there. And so, honestly, it would be a lock button of Delano Banton for me here, especially just hoping that maybe not enough people get to him. That slips under the radar on a Sunday football kind of slate. Shooting guard position. I love Devin Booker for tournaments. I'm planning on getting to him in my single entry lineup right now. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is I don't really want to play Pritchard and Banton together, but I don't really know how else to make this work right now for the lineup I want to do. I guess I could do Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I just don't know if I trust him. I really don't feel like I trust Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
It's tough, and I don't know if you necessarily have to have him now. So it's kind of tough.
I have 4,900 remaining for a guard right now, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do with it. But maybe I'll take out Keita Bates-Diop and save that.
I think Okaji and Eric Gordon are the big winners for Phoenix, other than Booker. Those are the two big guys that benefit the most with no Durant. I think Okaji is definitely in play for cash and GPP. If you need somebody cheap. So that's probably the route that I'm going to go.
Take me to shooting guard. I gave some of the ones that I liked here, but I'm definitely interested if there's anybody. I mean, no, we covered it. It's Devin Booker it's Devin Booker or
it's Devin Booker. It's Derek White, Eric Gordon, Josh Okaji, Jaylen Brown. I think is great in tournaments. Cole Anthony and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think is fine for tournaments as well.
You want to hear a crazy play that I'm going to be pulling out for tournaments now? Because it makes the rest of my lineup look good. Nasir Little.
Yeah, I thought about him actually. Yeah.
He's played at least 20 minutes in 3 of his last 4 games. He's priced under 8K. Small forward, power forward eligibility. I'm going with Nasir Little because then I can get Craig Porter Jr. instead of Peyton Pritchard. And then if Darius Garland happens to be ruled in, I can still make a pivot to somebody like a Contavious Caldwell-Pope if I need to, who would look even better. I wouldn't quite have enough to get to Reggie Jackson. That's annoying. But still some potential pivot room. All right. Small forward. We talked about liking Okaji. Eric Gordon is there too. Some Nasir Little for tournaments, but who else are you going to here potentially if you were playing more lineups?
Definitely Franz Wagner, Cameron Johnson. We talked about how Tatum's going to get squeezed, and I really think he is going to get squeezed. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. So these mid-range kind of Celtics plays are going to go under-owned, in my opinion. Cameron Johnson's a very strong play at 6,100. I think Sadiq Bey is fine. I've seen some people talk about him in the chat, but I think this matchup's pretty bad. But he is pretty affordable on FanDuel, so I guess he's okay. And then we've talked about Paulo Banchero too. Like, this is a smash spot for those Orlando wings, so they're great in all formats.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I love Banchero today. He is in my single entry lineup currently. And then those Phoenix guys are the other ones I'm looking at, Okoro, Okaji. If I was playing more lineups, I would definitely be keeping in mind these potential Denver value that could open up if Gordon misses, and then if Watson is out too, like Watson if he plays, or Julian Strother if both of those guys happen to be out, and then Michael Porter Jr. in the mid range I like as well. Power forward position, that is where Banchero is the only place eligible here on DraftKings is power forward. So as we pivot there, that's who I'm playing at that spot. Al Horford is priced up here, so I don't really like him. But take me to the center position.
Center position on FanDuel?
DraftKings.
Oh, DraftKings. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, I'm playing Jokic. It's kind of unfortunate that Al Horford's so expensive on DK. I love Goga at 5,200. I don't mind getting some builds where you play Jokic and Goga. Rudy Gobert at 6,800 is an exceptional play. I think Nikola Vucevic is fine for large field GPPs, and I also really like Mark Williams for large field GPPs.
I like all of those plays as well, but you know who I'm playing? It feels terrible, but you know who I'm playing in my team because I need value, and I think he could potentially have a massive amount of points against the team that is horrific against interior bigs.
Who's that?
It's Andre Drummond season.
I saw him popping earlier. I thought about that.
He's 3,700, and then that game isn't until 7:30, so it does still leave me some flexibility with Jokic in my lineup as well, who I can pivot and put in the center spots if Denver value opens up later. And so as my lineup stands right now, I have Andre Drummond, and my plan is to take him out if Denver value opens up and leave him in if it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can start pivoting to QQs. We got 10 minutes left to lock. Shout out everybody watching us live. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will take your QQs second after I go to the Discord live stream chat. The RotoGrinders Discord, make sure you join. Make sure you check it out. It is free. And while it's great for the live stream chat to be able to ask your questions first, it is worth it for nothing other than to hang out with Tim and the NHL crew in the Discord if you want to play some fantasy sports over there, because it is a very valuable tool. I don't know if you saw, Tim, but early on I was winning all the GPPs in hockey yesterday.
I saw you in there.
I stacked Toronto and New Jersey, and New Jersey obviously went crazy. Got Heischer in there because the Discord told me to, and unfortunately,
I told you to pre-show.
You did. You were like, make sure to. Sorry, I was trying to plug the Discord.
No. I told you.
You did. You 100%. That was you. And then as soon as I found out he was on that second line with some solid line mates, I stacked up the whole line. That went great. But Toronto only scored 2 goals in the first period and then nothing else the rest of the game. But having said that, going to the live stream chat for Discord for some QQs. DK GPP, Levert, Strus, or Aldama?
Aldama.
I think that would be Aldama for me too, but I don't hate the idea of going with one of the Cleveland guys if the rest of your lineup is somewhat chalky, because if you get Garland out, all of a sudden Levert's looking pretty good, and then if Garland's in, you can still go to Strus. Probably aren't sacrificing that much, but I agree Aldama would probably be the best play there. What do we got here? What do you think about Mark Williams as a run back on DK if you're playing lots of Magic players?
Yeah, he would be the guy that I would use as a run back. I'm not thrilled about it. Orlando's one of the best defensive teams in all basketball, so I don't think you necessarily need a run back, but if that would be the guy that I would choose.
Is Devin Booker in play for FanDuel Cash now?
100%, yes.
What do you think about Sadiq Bey as a FanDuel tournament play?
I don't love it. I don't really want to attack Boston. He is cheap enough where you certainly could pay off that price tag, but I just don't like building into that matchup.
Bay starting. Jalen Johnson broke his pen, so Bay is starting. Yes, it's just a terrible matchup against Boston. What do we got here? MPJ and Aldama, or Franz and RJ Barrett?
I'd say the first one.
What do you think here? What do you think of Patrick Williams if Caruso sits?
I don't have any interest in that. I think you could go to some of these cheaper, like Suns wings.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Can you explain why Banchero sits out? What am I missing on him? It's a phenomenal matchup against Charlotte. It's about as one of the best matchups you could get for a guy like Banchero. So that's why he's standing out. How about Jared Allen on DK?
I'd be fine with Allen as a last piece, but not somebody that I'd be actively seeking to roster. But he's fine as a last piece.
What do you think about Sam Hauser?
If he's not like knocking down his threes, then he's completely useless. So like, I don't know. I think that there's better value out there.
Suggs or Gordon on DK?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably Gordon.
And then that is it for the YouTube chat. Pivoting back over to the RotoGrinders Discord, 5 minutes to lock. Make sure you get your lineups in. Also, hit that like button for us. What do you think about Keita Bates Diop as a last piece for FanDuel Cash?
I'm fine with it as the last piece. Yeah, I mean he's gonna get enough run and he's cheap enough that I think he's fine for a last piece.
I agree with you there. That is it for the QQs. Let's see if we have any other starting lineups or anything like that here. Doesn't look like it. Do you got anything else you want to kind of get out there for the people, whether it be a tournament take or make sure you're watching this piece of news, or otherwise it looks like we'll get out of here a little bit early?
Well, you mentioned pre-show that about Garland, right? Like Garland might miss. So
Garland and Gordon are the two big things that I'm still
Garland
watching.
And Gordon. So definitely got to pay attention to that.
Nick Claxton ankle is a game time decision now.
Yeah, so I mean, we have other pieces of news. So you might not want to fill up all your roster spots with 6 o'clock guys, because there could be better value coming later. And then the other thing is, I really think Tatum's going to get lower ownership than he should. So I think he will make a really great tournament play.
Jonathan Isaac just got ruled out at the last second. Will that open up?
He's only playing like 15 minutes or like 15
so maybe Wagner
minutes.
gets a little bit more. Maybe that secures things for Banchero even. I kind of want to take Nasir Little out of my lineup right now because I think there could be more potentially opening up later. Like a guy like Watford could all of a sudden look like a good play at that position if Sharp gets ruled out. So I think I'm going to take out Nasir Little. I was basically just hoping he would get me 20 anyways, so I think that is going to be a safe one. Okaji and Booker are going to be my only players in that game. We wanted a max 2 on that anyways, and so I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable there with my lineup. Make sure you stay tuned for that Aaron Gordon as well as that Darius Garland news, and now we are waiting for Nick Claxton news as well, because he is going to be a game time decision after not being on the injury report earlier. So 3 things we're still waiting for. Make sure you adjust accordingly. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in on FanDuel sponsored Crunch Time today. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell on your way out. And I will be back in about an hour and a half-ish for a pre-lock show with Chiefs tonight, for the Chargers, for the Ravens. One last question before we get out of here. Kobe White or Reggie Jackson? That one is Reggie Jackson.
Definitely Reggie Jackson. Yes.
On behalf of myself, Tim, Steve, behind the scenes, thanks for everyone for tuning in. You have been crunched.